Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Tommy with Tommy's Top Picks, here to give you your weekly flesh and blood market update. So, John's away. I'm covering, but first, some house cleaning. We hit 500 subs. Thank you so much. It means a lot to John and I. This is just a fun little thing John and I started doing, and people seem to like it. So, wanted to say thank you. We are planning something really big. I know it's a little ambitious, but if you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. We want to plan something really cool for 1,000. So that is our goal, our next goal, hitting 1,000 subscribers. Exciting. So this week, John entrusted me to do the market update. I'm doing next week's too. So here's the thing. I filled out the spreadsheet, but the graphs didn't work because I am Excel illiterate and thought I knew how to do this, but turns out the graphs didn't work. So I was like, no, there's a silver lining here. Let's try something new. While John's away, we're going to do the market update a little different. We're going to do it Tommy's way. So we're going to still do the same thing where we go over the prices of the unlimited stuff. But then we're going to go to TCG Player and we're going to look at all the sets. And I'm just going to talk about each one for a little bit. Figure it'd be fun. So strap in, hang out, grab a drink. Let's go over some numbers. So WTR, we're going to start with the unlimited boxes here. WTR is up 9.2% to $95. Continuing the trend. I mean, it's been bouncing back and forth, but now I see it. I know we talked about this before, but I really think WTR is starting to disappear. I'm hearing shops aren't able to get it. Distributors don't have it. I know a lot is out there, and everyone said that, oh, there's a ton of it printed. But there's also a ton of new players coming in. And what do we all recommend to new players to pick up and learn the game? WTR. Well, now it is going away. Or, I mean, it's not going away. It's still, I mean, it's under $100 a box. It's still a great deal. But at the same time, it's a great product. So, it's only going to be around for so long. It is, unlimited is not unlimited. We've been over this for a long time. And that's what History Pack's for. So, I grabbed a case. I threw it on the shelf because I know there's going to be a time where I'm going to want to draft WTR with my friends for the feels. And, I don't know. I want to have that there, not pay an absorbent amount of money to be able to do that. So I have it on the shelf. Arcane Rising is up 3.45%. Not high enough to get the little red mark, but still a tick up. Again, similar. Arcane Rising's already at 120. Already surpassed WTR. So, because I think it started to start disappearing off shelves a little before WTR, because we got that second wave of WTR when the Farewell to Wraith event came out. I don't know if that was a different printing or if they were just holding it for that. But either way, we got more WTR product. Crucible of War Unlimited. Now, this is up 6.49%. There are still, it's not a draftable set. But at the same time, there's still a lot of really good cards in Crucible. And the thing about Crucible is, have you looked and seen like the first 3 sets? It ends at Crucible. So we're seeing a big rise in the first 3 sets here. And I think that's because there's just more value in the boxes now. A lot of people are buying up the unlimited rainbow foils of Majestics. So just that with the price of the Majestic and even just popular playable cards in rainbow foil going up, that is bringing the boxes up. And I also when I go to stores, I'm not seeing Crucible War on the shelf anymore. So that's probably another sign. But that's where it ends, because now we're at Monarch and it is at $50 a box. It's been there up and down $1 for a while. it's not going anywhere. It's not moving. However, we did hear that there is going to be a new prism and a new chain. So if you have any interest in playing those characters, whatever their new talent or ability is, now might be the time to grab those cards. Just grab the singles. They're super cheap. I bought a ton of Monarch singles because it is my least opened set, and I'm trying to complete a play set, a master set of playables, of just playables, but every card. And Monarch is the one I've had to order the most because I've only opened like 4 or 5 boxes of Monarch. Me and Monarch, we don't see eye to eye. Tales of Aria is up 16.98%. Now that seems like a lot, but it went from 53 to 62. So we're back to where we were about mid-January. So it's not crazy. We dipped down a bit. Now we're just kind of going back to where it was. It's still super cheap. Still a fun draft set. I drafted it, what was it, 2 weeks ago? A lot of fun. It was a nice break from Uprising draft. But let's move on to the cases for Unlimited. WTR staying about the same at that 375. And then Arcane Rising. So 375 compared to 95 a box. We don't have the graphs, remember. So we're not going to be able to see like the price percentage difference in the case to the box. But that seems like a pretty good deal. If you're looking to throw some WTR Unlimited on the shelf, maybe grab a case. It's better to open by the case anyways, unless you're me, who opened 2 or 3 cases without a legendary in WTR, and then bought a random box and pulled a Tunic out of that. So, not every case has a legendary, but most do. So grab a case. It's cheaper by the box. Then we got Arcane Rising. So that's staying the same at 466. Crucible War. Now this is up 22.33% to 367. So I think this is just kind of catching up and continuing the trend with the box price. Box price goes up, and so does the case. So I think this is just kind of Crucible of War is the public is realizing that the players are realizing that there isn't much Crucible War Unlimited out there left because the price is going up. I'm not seeing it in stores again. So we shall see. Monarch Unlimited case, again, about the same. Same with Tails, not much movement. Moving over to first edition, we have WTR, no sales. I didn't see any sales on TCG Play. And then, but Arcane Rising, and we'll talk about this when we move over to TCG Player, but this is a big jump. We're up 16% to 1478 for a first edition box of Arcane. It's a big deal. It's a big jump from 1275. So we had those low 2 weeks, but now we're back up to where we were 3 weeks ago. So we're doing this up and down, up and down, up and down. We're trying to figure out a price of where these things should be. That's what I'm assuming. That's an expensive box though. Then we got Crucible of War. Stayed about the same, 459. Monarch first edition, about the same, slightly down $2 to 87. Tails the same, Everfest the same. Uprising's the same, Dynasty's the same. I think those are all gonna stay. Like Monarch on, I think is all gonna stay about where it's at for a while. We'll see what happens with Matt when map drops for UPR, but I don't think it's really going to go down because, I mean, it is still the draftable set until when we get Outsiders. That'll be interesting to see because we'll have a new draftable set then. But also, on the other hand, we don't know how much Uprising's out there. It's this whole beginning of the new Fab 2.0. So we'll just have to see. That will be interesting. Moving on to the first edition cases. WTR through Monarch. There wasn't really a difference. And then, but when we get to Tails, first edition case is up 18% to 295. And the case of Everfest is up 12% to 235. So cases are moving up. It's funny, the box we drafted of Tails was first edition. Because if you look at it, Tails first edition box is $68, where an unlimited is $62. Why would you not spend the extra $6 and get a cold foil? Like, that's, if you get a common equipment cold foil, that's probably a couple bucks, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Seems silly. Buy first edition. It's there. There was a Rampart pulled in our draft, which was pretty exciting. It's always fun to see a cold foil pulled a draft. But that does it for our price changes. Now let's dive into these sets. So first, let's jump over. Let's take a look. Just kind of wanted to do a little bit of jibber jabbering about, I don't know, where are the prices at with this stuff? What is it beyond just the graphs and the numbers? So the case obviously being the highest, it doesn't exist on TCG Player right now. But the heart is something I wanted to talk about. The Heart of Fandale. Lightly played, $500. Whereas you have the market price at $422. It has not caught up yet. But there has been consistent sales. One today, one yesterday, 3 on the 19th, 17th, 6. So this is selling every day. And we only have 18 listings. And then if you jump to near mint, we have the 500, but no sales, and that is the max you are allowed to charge as a new account. So, and they have 2. Seems kind of sketchy. So I would jump to this 538 as the near mint new price, because there is not much available. And what's different with the heart, with the other fables, is it's so playable in so many decks that players want it. Players need it to be they don't need it to be competitive, but it certainly gives them that edge. And when you get to that certain level of skill, that 1, 2, 3 health you get throughout the game can be the difference of a game. And then Tunic, just an iconic card. $276.98 for the rainbow foil. But E-Strike is something we were talking about in the Discord. If you'd like to join the Discord, we have a Patreon. Links in the description below. And you can hop in and have discussions with us about the market, about the game. Hop in and play some games. And just join the discussion before the market update. So you just naturally happen. People bring topics up, people bring discussions up, and then we just have them there in the Discord. So join the Patreon, join the Discord, join the community. It's a good group of people, and we have a fun time. But the rainbow foils, that's what I wanted to talk about here. Limited. Oh. Limited rainbow foil. There we go. $180. $180 with a 60 sale account. Then we're up to $219 for the first verified seller. This is silly. That's silly. So not only is the supply dwindling, but the singles are jumping. The last actual sale was 150. I'm just trying to see where before that 126 one sold for a rainbow. 200, 175. I don't know. That seems a little too, the jump just, I feel like it's going to come back down. I can't guarantee it, obviously. Can't use the G word, but that just seems like really high jump really quick. Now, I mean, it's a classic playable Alpha Unlimited card, but that's a big jump real quick. But all of these, like Toma Findale here. Unlimited edition rainbow foil. There's 5 listings. 65, 65, 80, 100. But where the market price is still showing 35. Where are they actually selling? 41, 50, 45. I don't know. It's definitely interesting to see this new influx of, because rainbow is almost like disregarded. Like it didn't really, in the unlimited, it didn't really matter. There wasn't that much of a premium put on rainbow until recently, I feel, which is surprising. I always like them. I like blinging out my decks. My Dory deck is looking real nice right now. I just ordered rainbow foil Spoils of War and rainbow foil Glint of the Quicksilver. Glint of Quicksilver. Right? Yes. But yeah, so I'm only missing a couple cards that are not rainbow foil. We're almost there. But moving on to Arcane Rising. Obviously, the ones to look at here. Again, the Fable, the Eye. Lightly played up to 357. Near mint, 357, 362. These Fables are just going up, and they're not going to be reprinted. Like, that's the one card that in these sets will not be reprinted. It was reprinted in history packs, but I think that's kind of, or not history packs. It was not, the Fables are not reprinted in history packs. The Fables are reprinted in the alternative or the other language booster boxes of the history packs, which makes sense because those countries and those languages haven't gotten the card yet, so they should be able to at least get a chance. But they are not being produced. Like they're going to be over there. They're not going to be in the States, so they're not. There'll be some will be mailed, yes, but it's not going to really change the price of these or slow the speed of growth on these. As long as these have playable, like I have Ophidia, I think is going to, if Azalea or Ranger is really good with outsiders, Opting's pretty good in Ranger. I mean, with that quiver, make sure you have an arrow on top, pitch that, make sure you have an arrow on top, pop it. I don't know, seems pretty good to me. Then you got the Command and Conquer, obviously. And this rainbow foil has always kind of been wild, I guess. but it's Command and Conquer. Yeah, 190. Wild. But just the regular price down, it's like 84. They're not cheap. That hasn't, I mean, that's kind of been bouncing around like the 70s to 100s for a while, though. Moving on, let's go to Crucible War here. Twinning Blade Extended up to 800. There's only 7 listings. I mean, obviously, first edition only. So it's going to demand a premium. And then the Shard, sorry. Shard is one of the last cards I need for my complete master set. So I'm hoping we start to see a trend down. What I'm kind of thinking that this might be is because this is going to be the playmat for Pro Tour in Baltimore. So I'm thinking it's getting a little bit of hype right now from that. That's my thinking. Because it did start to go up after that was shown off. So I might wait till after the Pro Tour and after that hype dies down. Because like I said, still need this card. And looks like that 348 is not as sturdy as I thought. It was it's a 0%, 0%. Then we go to 359, 355, then 474, almost $500 for the first verified. That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. Okay. Anyone has a heart or a shard, let me know. Monarch. Got the great library here. Obviously, gotta look at the Fable. Now, is there much of a difference between? Yeah. So Monarch is a troubled set. Obviously, the cold foil being pretty expensive when it first came out has now dropped down to, let's see what the first edition cold foil verified seller. Yeah, we're looking at $349. And what's funny is this isn't very playable. However, well, it's not playable at all right now in CC. But it's just such a gorgeous card. This is a collector's piece. But let's move on. We got the Footsteps. Limited at 189. Not bad. So there are still some big hits. Like Carrion Husk is one of the other things that I still need. But I've never played a shadow character before. So have not needed it. Yeah, not too much to say about Monarch. Moving on to Tails. So if you are looking for a cost-efficient, cool collector piece to add to your collection and don't have a Corsham, this seems like a good deal. I mean, it's the price of a box, really, and you're guaranteed a Corsham? I'd buy a Corsham before I'd buy a Tales Unlimited box. It's like, what, $10, $15 difference? But for the first edition, yeah, $2 worth. Yeah, that's not bad at all. That would be a solid pickup. But yeah, not much to really talk about here that I haven't said already. Everfest, again, this one's really interesting. How far it has come down. So I wonder if Flesh and Blood will enter this kind of circulation point where, I mean, it makes sense. It's logical, right? Supply and demand. The older boxes are starting to disappear. They're not as easily accessible. And these are the ones that are plentiful. But at the same time, I feel like Tails is pretty limited to Elemental and tied to Elemental. So it depends on how the elemental heroes are doing. Obviously, Oldhim is doing very well right now, but the expense of Oldhim is in the equipment, and not all the equipment is from Tails. Well, some of it is, but Uprising, got the crown, $43 for Blooded Drakai. Interesting. Yeah, some of these legendaries, like Cornet P, $17. It's wild how cheap some of these cards are. And how hard they are to pull. Well, I guess they're not terribly hard, but I don't know. Ratio is surprising. Let's see, where's Crown? Yeah, so here you have the rainbow going down and down and down and down, and you have the cold foil going up and up and up. That's not something you see too often. People really want, I mean, this is the generic helm now, right? This is the competitive. If you're playing a generic helm, you're playing Crown of Providence, most likely. I have seen a resurgence of Skullcap coming back. I play it in my Kasai deck against certain matchups, but Crown of Providence is played way more often. And I wonder if this is, I don't know. Flesh and Blood players really like to bling out their stuff, from what I have noticed recently. It hasn't always been that way. It hasn't always been the trend. Sometimes people even prefer the opposite and going as unblinged as possible, especially for competitive play, because you don't want the curved cards or anything poking out. But I think now that you have the ability to, like, say you have just a couple rainbow, or like a rainbow, like say you're playing a heart, and now you can go to an event at the beginning of the event, tell the judge, hey, I'm nervous about this with being deck checked or it being marked, can I swap it? And they can give you a token or something to then write that it's the heart, and then that's fine. Like, you're basically proxying it, but you have it. Like, you have to show that you have the card, but you don't have to worry about that kind of thing, which I think is really nice. But moving on to our last set, Dynasty here. The hype for Dynasty is still strong. It's a great set. The hype only continues into Outsiders as Assassin gets more love. I am really both excited and anxious to see what Assassin gets in Outsiders, just because I really do hope that Arachne becomes viable. But my concern is that we end up with almost like two half archetypes, like Assassin being pushed into two different archetypes with the new Assassin coming in, but at the same time, neither of them really have cards that work to fill out a complete archetype, if that makes sense. Where Arachne's very contract focused, and then maybe Azuri is very stealth focused. But then when it comes to constructed, neither of them have enough cards to compete in the meta because they're such a limited card pool for Assassin. So I'm really hoping, and I'm sure LSS has thought about that. I'm probably overthinking it. But that is my current concern with Assassin. But I think it should be fine. It will be fine. I am just overthinking it. But I want my mill deck to work, and it will one day. I just hope Outsiders is that day. Well, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my rambling. Only one more week of me, and then you will have John back for all of your market update goodness. So let me know how bad a job I did or how good a job. Should I take it over permanently? Do you want John back next week? Should I fly him home just so that he can do the market update next week? Let me know in the comments. And until next week, we'll catch you guys later.